Get you up to date with the forecast here. I think as we go through tonight, we're going to see some clouds increase. There are a few showers down to the south that I'm watching. Some of those might creep north. Otherwise, I think we're in good shape. Low temperatures tonight would be in the mid-60s, so it's still mild and muggy. Still a little smoky as well. When the smoke disappears, when the humidity drops, coming up in the forecast. Eyewitness News first at 10 on Fox starts right now.
Local news that matters. This is Eyewitness News, first at 10.
Tonight, first at 10, a special meeting of the Utica Common Council tonight concluded yet again without a clear plan for complete streets. We'll tell you when you can expect answers from the city. And Mayor Paul Mary announcing big changes coming to Franklin Square Alley in downtown Utica. We'll bring you the details. Plus, wildfire smoke is back in the conversation this week. Forest rangers with the state's Department of Environmental Conservation just returned home after spending 2 weeks battling those flames. We'll hear what they had to say later tonight. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for Eyewitness News First at 10. I'm Shelby Pay, filling in tonight for Jamie Azoulay. The question of whether or not Genesee Street in Utica would be 2 lanes or 4 from Oriskany Street South to Court Street was expected to be resolved this afternoon at a special meeting of the Utica Common Council. The answer to the question? Well, you'll have to wait until Wednesday. Ordinance 9 was put before the council this afternoon. That ordinance would have returned the flow of traffic for those 5 blocks of Genesee Street to 2 northbound and 2 southbound lanes, as they had been for decades. But instead of a vote, the council tabled the motion and put it back into committee. It is expected to be back on the floor for a vote at the next council session on Wednesday. But the vote has to be a simple majority. So will there be a resolution? Well, we'll have to wait and see.
It is 4:31. We call this special meeting of the City of Utica Common Council to order. Clerk, please call the roll. The legislation reads, whereas it is the intent of the Common Council to pass legislation amending the number of lanes on Genesee Street to be consistent with the traffic pattern as it was prior to the enactment of the 90-day complete street policy. If it is introduced, it requires unanimous approval to pass this evening.
All I've heard from the majority of the people I talk to are all complaints. We really know what's going on in this city. We've lived here for many, 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 many years. But go back to the 4-lane, 2-lane each way on Genesee Street like we've had before. And let's quit making a mockery of this city.
I really do speak on behalf of the theater, my board, my security staff, my union, the patrons, everybody that uses this theater. We are part of Utica, and I feel that we do have an impact in downtown, and I would like us to be considered in your decision tonight.
Hello, I'm Deb Griffin, one of the owners. My husband and I own Griffin's Pub downtown Utica. We have been a staple of Utica for 40 years. We found out about these complete streets when the lines were painted. You made a change to city streets where we have given our life, our soul, our hours. These are our businesses. No one had the respect for us to say, we're changing these streets.
That's me. After the public comment section of the special meeting was concluded, the council decided that the legislation would be placed in committee and voted on Wednesday, at which time it could be passed with a simple majority in place of a unanimous vote. And a record 24 million acres in Canada have been destroyed due to the ongoing wildfires. Our Capitol correspondent, Emil Taligi, tells us what forest rangers have been doing to help during these unpredictable times.
Pretty much that was the gist of our 2-week assignment, was seek and destroy hotspots. And we did it really well. I think we showed Quebec what we can do. I think they appreciated everything we did.
Gary Miller was in charge of a 20-person crew while in Canada. He says normally firefighters dig lines to help control fires. These are trenches that deprive the wildfire of additional fuel by removing surrounding debris. But Miller says this wasn't possible in Canada.
In Quebec, because the fire was so big, and hand line and dozer line you just can't do it with the terrain. It's pretty much they let the fire go until it hits a wet area, and then they use their helicopters to control it that way.
He says there were around 8 helicopters being used in Canada, and they did a great job executing precision drops with Bambi buckets. As far as when we'll see an end to all this, that's to be determined.
It's just not feasible. I couldn't tell you how many people you'd have to put on it, and besides, just the risk is not worth it.
We often put it in terms of, the thinking, breathing thing that has a mind of its own, fire.
John D'Alessandro, Association Secretary for FASNY, says it's hard to predict where these wildfires will travel and how long they'll last.
Firefighters believe that they have a large wildland fire under control, but then the wind shifts, okay? And it goes into a whole new area that might have a lot of combustible material available to it.
Those wildfires impacting New York State. The governor announced an air quality health advisory for today, which can be monitored through airnow.gov. Reporting in Albany, Amel Talegi.
And in some exciting news, earlier today, Utica Mayor Robert Palmieri and First Ward Councilperson Katie Aiello unveiled plans to beautify and activate the alley at Franklin Square. The project is part of the Utica Prosperity Initiative and is where Councilperson Aiello directed her district's allocation of American Rescue Plan Act money. The alley will take on a theme of the Erie Canal, which is a big part of Utica's history and its downtown. The project features the already completed restoration of the walls that frame the alley. Also included in the project are ribbon-style benches, an Erie Canal motif laid out in ruby lake glass along the alley floor, and other decorative elements. The city says that the Franklin Square Alley has been the location of public art and programming in recent years, and this redesign will enhance residents' ability to continue those traditions. Construction will start later in the summer and should be finished by the fall. Coming up tonight on Eyewitness News, first at 10, numbers released today by the Office of the State Comptroller, Thomas DiNapoli, sent mixed messages regarding the state's economy. We'll bring you the details. And when the Great New York State Fair opens to the public in 37 days, it will offer an opportunity for you and your family to go back in time. Stay with us.
This is Eyewitness News, first at 10.
Welcome back to Eyewitness News at 10. The New York State Board of Regents voting to update its regulations when it comes to definitions relating to corporal punishment. Capitol correspondent Jamie DeLine has that story.
Corporal punishment is not legal in New York schools, which is when physical force is used on a student for discipline. On Monday, the New York Board of Regents voted to further update its regulations, making it clear what constitutes corporal punishment and what doesn't.
For example, if a teacher was trying to protect himself or herself from a student who's lunging at the teacher or a student lunging at another student, any type of restraint that would be involved in that interaction would not constitute corporal punishment because you'd be protecting another human being.
In the past, a student could be restrained if they were causing damage to physical property.
If we had someone who knocked over a filing cabinet or knocked over a desk, if a child had done that, then the staff or the faculty, if properly trained, were technically able to restrain that child. And now that's been taken away.
The New York State Education Department released a statement saying in part, quote, the department's updated regulations continue to prohibit the use of corporal punishment and aversive interventions inconsistent with federal guidance at a prohibition on the use of seclusion.
It really basically, follows a whole bunch of studies that indicate that when you put kids in secluded rooms, you lock the door, you place them in a position where you are, really engaging in a whole bunch of potential emotional harm. And the state is indicating that that's just not in any way, shape, or form pedagogically appropriate.
The New York State Education Department says the changes were based on reports of corporal punishment from school districts, state and federal guidance, and local and national reporting on trauma experienced by students. Leslie Silva, a partner at Tully Rinke, says the definition of corporal punishment was vague, and these new regulations will close legal loopholes.
Schools are going to have to tell the Department of Education, what's been going on, what they've been doing, if they've had to use any restraint or seclusion. And that's really important because we didn't have that data collection before.
Reporting in Albany, I'm Jamie DeLine.
And numbers released today by the Office of the State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli sent mixed messages regarding the state's economy. DiNapoli reports that the state took in $27.6 billion in tax revenue in the first quarter of the fiscal year. That was almost $451 million more than what was projected. But it was also $7 billion less than the same time last fiscal year. DiNapoli noted that a slowing of consumer spending and volatility on Wall Street had an impact on personal income tax collection. The state is projecting multi-billion-dollar gaps in the coming years and has a $19 billion contingency fund to help ease that pain. And a two-car accident on Route 365 in the town of Vernon shut down 365 for most of the morning today. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office reports that a car northbound on Route 365 crossed into the opposite lane and hit a pickup truck. The crash occurred a little after 8:30 this morning near the intersection of 365 and 9th Street. The driver of the car, 27-year-old Dakota Little of Oneida, was pronounced deceased at the scene. The driver of the pickup and a 9-year-old passenger in the truck suffered minor injuries. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. And unfortunately, a bobcat has tested positive for rabies in Otsego County. That county's Department of Health reports that the positive test came back on Saturday. The bobcat apparently came into contact with a dog, but that dog is vaccinated against rabies. 4 people are undergoing post-exposure treatments, one of those people having actually had contact with the bobcat. The incident took place in the town of Unadilla. Be sure to get our CNY homepage app to stay up to date on all the latest local news. But before we go to break, here's a preview of your weather with Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
So the wildfire smoke is back, still out there tonight, and it will be around through the day tomorrow, hence air quality alerts again. The complete forecast next here on Fox.
Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint, and kind of a new look to the Weather Center and to the studio as we undergo some renovations here. We're excited about it, and if I look shiny, it's because it's hot in here, Shelb, with all these lights. All right, let's take a look at the forecast here. Tonight, just a few showers that I'm watching, mild, muggy, a low of 65. So you can see actually a couple of these showers out here. This is out by Syracuse. A couple of these guys out here we're watching. And also down to the south, there's another area of rain that will be lifting north. So a few areas could get clipped by a few rain showers. In the low 60s in the Adirondacks right now. 73 here in town. 69 in Herkimer. Into Otsego County, 70 right now. Springfield to Lawrence at 69. It's 70 in Sherburne. I mentioned those showers to the south and west, kind of a better perspective of them here. This little gaggle that we're watching right here will kind of slip by to the south and east, and then some severe weather out here in Ohio. That is not going to be our issue tonight. Check this out. This is a look at the smoke that's in the sky right now. Above your head, vertically integrated smoke. So the darker red colors are the thicker plumes of smoke, and you can see they're coming into western New York, the Niagara Frontier, central New York. But you look over northwest to the north and west towards Michigan and over Wisconsin, things start to improve a little bit. So we'll see the smoke kind of thin out. There are air quality alerts that are in effect through the day tomorrow. So watch the wildfire smoke as we go through the day. Notice how the colors become a little bit less benevolent, less bright, so they kind of fade out a little bit. So the smoke will essentially fade out a little bit as well. Now, can't rule out a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. Could be a gusty thunder shower in the afternoon somewhere, but you could see there's not a lot, right? It's still warm and humid. Temperatures will be into the low 80s with a few showers and thunderstorms around into the evening. Then we gradually clear the sky tomorrow night. The other thing, the humidity really starts to drop by tomorrow night. So I think Wednesday, a good deal of sunshine. It will be fresher with less humidity and a high temperature right around 80. 80 degrees, that's where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. So it'll feel pretty good on Wednesday. The humidity will start to increase again by Thursday, and there will be a few showers and thunderstorms developing late in the afternoon Thursday. There's your day tomorrow, low 80s, a few showers and storms around in the afternoon. Take a look outside right now. We're watching a few more clouds fill in. 71, the dew point sky high in the 60s, so we're probably going to end up in the mid-60s tonight. Low 80s tomorrow with a shower or thunderstorm. Nice Wednesday, less humid, 80, and then some storms redevelop by late Thursday, becoming more humid, 85. And then we get into the weekend, scattered thunderstorms Friday, becoming spotty Saturday. Temperatures in the mid-70s, so not quite as warm, and then we get back into the 80s again by Sunday and Monday. We have got to take a quick break. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
I know, but he said, can you just print out everything to have it just in case? In my head, yeah, check 1, 2, 3. In my head, I was like, we have the iPad there. Like, we don't need 100. So me
It's time for Eyewitness Sports.
Good evening, I'm Brennan Miller with Eyewitness Sports. Today, a big day for the Utica Comets off the Adirondack Bank Center ice. A pair of community-minded events taking place revolving around the team and specifically the fans. Today was the Comets' season ticket member summer party at the Utica University Nexus Center, featuring food and drinks, raffles, a silent auction, and free public skate and skate rentals. This was an opportunity for Comets season ticket members to get back to the odd as the season rapidly approaches. For some eligible fans, there was also a chance to win their seat for free. That is, of course, if they could make an ice-length shot into a 2x4 hole, which I saw a few of them did. The party lasted from 5 to 7:30, but all of that was preceded by another big Comets event, Joe Gambardella and Ryan Schmelzer's Comets Kids Camp. The Comets captains running the camp at the Nexus Center today through Thursday, offering players at the Mite, Squirt, Pee-wee, and Bantam levels up to 9 hours of total ice time and personal coaching from the two players over the next 3 days. Along with the on-ice training, players at the camp will also have 4 off-ice training sessions, getting in shape for their upcoming junior hockey seasons, and will also receive a camp jersey and t-shirt. Registration for the camp is still open, and the link to sign up for the remaining 3 days is at uticacomets.com/camp. Along with hockey, there's also some basketball going on tonight. As it does every Monday night, the Utica Lady Knicks Premier League was back in action. The early games between the Earl Savory Beardians and Seasonal Sports, and then Snyder Landscaping taking on Notre Dame Schools, the former getting the victory in both of those contests. The Beardians, led by Kayla Campbell's 22 points, get the 69-57 victory and move to 3-3 on the year, while for Snyder, it was more of a team effort. Leading scorer Savannah Summer with just 10 points as they get a low-scoring 43-34 9-point victory. And we close out our sports segment tonight with sad news out of the city of Rome. Former RFA football coach Tom Hoke has passed away today. Hoke built one of the most dominant football programs in New York State. In his 27 years with the Black Knights, his record, 210 wins, 41 losses, and 4 ties. Good for a win percentage of .824, the second highest ever among Section 3 coaches, and included a 39-game unbeaten streak. Most of those games played before the formal state championship was set up, but in his time on the sideline, his teams won 19 league titles, 8 sectional championships, a pair of regional crowns, and in 1981, his Black Knights team was voted as state champion by the New York State Sports Writers Association. He was also voted as New York State Coach of the Year in that 81 season and was inducted into the Greater Utica Sports Hall of Fame in 2015. His battles against the other Central Oneida League powerhouses made for many an exciting Friday night on the field that was renamed in his honor. For now, that's all for sports. Check out cmyhomepage.com for your top sports stories. Some more Eyewitness News coming up right after the break.
Eyewitness News First at 10 continues.
When the Great New York State Fair opens to the public in 37 days, it will offer an opportunity for you and your family to go back in time, all the way to the Mesozoic era when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Immersive Productions is bringing its widely popular Dinosaur Expedition, an interactive educational experience, to the New York State Fair for all 13 days. Best of all, access will be included in the price of fair admission. More than 60 true-to-life size prehistoric lifelike dinosaurs will roar into the Exposition Center starting August 23rd. The must-see exhibit features dinosaurs that range in size from babies measuring 3 feet or fun-size tall to full-grown massive creatures that stand as tall as 35 feet and span as long as 80 feet. Visitors will be able to walk through the indoor experience at their own pace, taking in the wonders of dinosaurs, including the Tyrannosaurus rex, Velociraptor, Brachiosaurus, and Stegosaurus. Several displays, including an opportunity to climb into a dinosaur egg and a dinosaur's mouth, serve as prime selfie destinations, satisfying fairgoers who will have a social media flair. Visitors of all ages will also be encouraged to interact and dance along to an animatronic dinosaur band and show off their skills in daily dinosaur dance parties held every other hour. Admission tickets and parking for the 2023 Great New York State Fair will go on sale soon, and the purchasing information, as soon as it's available, will be provided at the fair's website and on its social media platforms. We'll close out the broadcast when we return.
It's New York Lottery's numbers win 4 and take 5 drawings are on Monday evening, July 17th, 2023, being observed by KPMG. I'm John Schnur. Now, here's tonight's number. The first ball up is 0. The next is 2 in the last is 5, making tonight's number 025. Tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot is $640 million. And now with 4, the first ball up is 9. The next is 5. The next is 3 in the last is 4, making tonight's win 4 number 9534. Now it's time for tonight's Take 5 drawing. Last night we had over 3,000 Take 5 cash winners. Tonight's winning Take 5 numbers are 34, 39, 31, 21, and 14. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful night.
All right, welcome back. Let's get you ready to go for tomorrow. So watch out for a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. I think high temperatures make it into the low 80s. It's still warm and humid tomorrow. Then we get into Wednesday. That's when the humidity will drop. By the way, the smoke will finally clear out too. So nice looking day Wednesday, up near 80. Better chance of showers and storms late Thursday, warm and humid, 85. And then as we get into the weekend, it starts to cool off a little bit with showers and storms. Shelby.
All right, thanks, Greg. And thank you for joining us tonight for Eyewitness News. First at 10, we'll see you back here again tomorrow. Have a great night.